Hello, today we're going to cover a text. The name of this text is Unprotected by Simon Rich. One thing that you should know about this text is that it describes an object. So it's not a person talking, it's an object. You have to listen and pay attention and then eventually figure out what the object is. We're going to do it through parts. We're going to listen to some parts of it, stop, answer questions, debate a little bit, and after that, we will do a different activity. But we will go over the text today. Those of you who don't have the book with you at home, I will be sending pictures of the pages for you. I scan the pages for you, and you'll have the pages that you need. If you have problems hearing the audio, you will also receive a link to where you can listen to the audio later on by yourself. The title is Unprotected. Let's talk about the words for a bit. What does the word unprotected mean? Please type what you think it means. It's okay if you type it in Norwegian, but I would rather actually see an explanation of what the word is. For example, glass. I can just translate it to Norwegian and say glass, or I can say it is a container where I put things that I can drink from. I can drink from this. So instead of just saying what the word is in Norwegian, you can give me an explanation. Unprotected. I'm sure some of you are going off of the that prefix, because that prefix means without, right? Or not. So not protected, without protection. So that's a very accurate description of what the word is. So here's what we're going to do. If we had been sitting in the classroom all together, we would have had the opportunity to just listen to the whole thing in one go, and after that, we would go over the questions. But we're doing this online, and I'm going to break it into 3 or 4 parts. We'll listen to a little bit and read, and we'll stop and discuss bit by bit. I feel like it's easier for you to pay attention and get the most out of the text if you listen and stop and go over what was said. I feel like you will work better this way. This time, you will have the text written for you. The last time we did some activities like that, you didn't have the script to look at. All you had was the listening part. But this time you can actually look at the words as you listen. It is the same chapter, chapter 3. We have read a few texts on here. We've read Slam. We read the text about Jamie Oliver. Cutting corners at work. We've done all of that. But now it's on page 128, 129, 130. Those of you who don't have the book, if you open our group chat you will have access to scans of the pages. Before we start, I want you to look at the top of the page where it says reflect. I want you to read it and tell me if there is something wrong with that statement. There are actually 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences there. And there are some things, I don't want to say wrong completely, because linguistically, they're actually right. If you don't remember the difference between linguistically correct and grammatically correct, let me just tell you now. Grammatically correct is when you write with academic speech. And let me give you an example. If I write in Norwegian and I write in bokmål, that is academically correct and linguistically correct, because I can write a text in bokmål for a class at the university. If I use the dialect that is spoken in Selbu to send a text message to a friend, and my friend also speaks the dialect from Selbu, my friend is going to understand everything that's in a text message. Even though it is not academically correct, it is not, I can't send the same type of language that I write on a text message to my professor at the university. But whatever I want to say in that text message, even though it is in dialect, my friend will understand. So everything that people can understand is linguistically correct, is linguistically acceptable. But not everything that is linguistically acceptable is academically or grammatically acceptable. The example there on the very top of the page, if I had to say this in academic speech, I would have said, I was born in a factory. And that's not what's written there. There's some elements missing. They put me in a wrapper. They sealed me in a box. So there are lots of elements missing from the sentences. Although we understand what's being said, there are some elements missing to make it grammatically correct. So let's listen. Try to look at the words as you listen, because this time you actually can look at the words as you listen. The last time I said that, I ended up having to take back my words because you didn't have the text with you. This time you have it. So I'm going to put the text on the screen as well as I'm not sure how much of that you can see, so I'm going to make it bigger. Perhaps that's too big. As long as it's big enough.
Born in factory. Unprotected by Simon Rich. I born in factory. They put me in wrapper. They seal me in box. 3 of us in box. In early days, they move us around. From factory to warehouse. From warehouse to truck. From truck to store. One day in store, boy human sees us on shelf. He grabs us, hides us under shirt. He rushes outside. He goes to house, runs into bedroom, locks door. He tears open box and takes me out. He puts me in wallet. I stay in wallet long, long time. This is story of my life inside wallet. The first friend I meet in wallet is student ID Jordy Hirschfeld. He is card. He has been around longest, he says. He introduces me to other cards. I meet learner permit Jordy Hirschfeld.
At the very beginning of the story, I already told you it's actually not a person telling the story, but it's an object. So you already know that much. So let's think about this for a minute. Something that was born in a factory, so it was produced in a factory. If you have perceived anything that's a bit strange, it's because it's an object telling the story. At the very beginning, the object says that a boy sees him, grabs him, hides him under his shirt. So let's talk about this for a minute. This is an object that somebody can buy at a store, but this person chose to actually grab it and put it under his shirt. Why do you think he's hiding the object? Some of you might be thinking, okay, he's hiding it because he didn't pay for it. He just took it and put it under his shirt. So it doesn't really matter what type of object it is. The fact of the matter is that he's hiding it because he didn't pay for it. That's one theory. Or he's hiding it because it's an embarrassing object to buy. So he doesn't really feel comfortable buying it. Now the next part of the story, the sentence that starts, he goes to his house. I'm completing it with academic English, but that's not how it's written there. He goes to his house, he runs into his bedroom, he locks the door. Before I go any further, the word to lock and the word to close are two separate words in English. I know that some people might get a bit confused because to lock sounds a little bit like the word for to close and to lock in Norwegian. But when you say lock, that involves a key to lock the door. It's not the same as just closing the door, because you can close the door and not lock it. He tears open the box and takes me out, and he puts me in his wallet. So now, from this description, what is the size of this object? Please type what you think. Giving the description, what is the size of this object? Those of you who said it has to be tiny or very small, small enough to fit in a wallet, that's correct. This is the story of my life inside that wallet. The first friend I meet in wallet is student ID. What's a student ID? What does ID stand for? Identification is correct. ID, identification. So now this object that's in the wallet is describing everything else that's also in the wallet. Let's continue to listen, and I'll stop again to ask some questions in a little bit.
Blockbuster Video, Jordy Hirschfeld. Jamba Juice Value Card. GameStop Power-Up Card, Jordy Hirschfeld. Business Card, Albert Hirschfeld DDS. Scarsdale Comic Book Explosion Discount Card. In middle of wallet, there live dollars. I am less close to them because they are always coming and going. But they are mostly nice. I meet many ones and fives, some tens, a few 20s. One time, I meet 100. He stay for a long time. Came from birthday card, he said. Birthday card from an old person. I also meet photograph of girl human. Very beautiful. Eyes like Blockbuster Video. Blue, blue, blue. When I first get to wallet, I am new guy. But time passes. I stay for so long, I become veteran. When I first arrive, Jamba Juice has just 2 stamps. Next thing I know, he has 5 stamps, then 6, then 7. When he gets 10 stamps, he is gone. One day, learner permit disappears. In his place, there is new guy, driver license. I become worried. Things are changing very fast.
So now we're told about some changes that are happening. So what else is in this wallet? I'd like you to type in the chat box 3 things that can be found in this wallet. A photo is one, a picture or a photograph. What else? Money. The ID card, of course. And then they mentioned something called a Jamba Juice value card. Jamba Juice was actually, maybe still is, I'm going to check to see if it still exists. But what it was, Jamba Juice. All right. I can't even open Jamba Juice for you because it's only available in the United States. Let me see. Jamba, formerly known as Jamba Juice, is an American company that produces blended fruit and vegetable juices, smoothies, and similar products. So those are very popular back in the day. It was founded in the 90s, in 1990. So that card, I don't know how many of you are familiar with when you go to the movies in Trondheim, when you go to the movies. There used to be a system when you bought popcorn, you got a card, and every time you bought popcorn and a drink, they would stamp it. After you got 5 stamps, you were entitled to a free popcorn and a free drink. This is kind of the concept here with the Jamba Juice card. Every time you took that card somewhere to buy something, you'd get a stamp. So that's also in the wallet. There are some other references here that might not be very easy for you to pick out because they're not things that still exist in our society. For example, he talks about the girl's eyes. What color are the girl's eyes? It says it's blue, right? But he compares her eyes to Blockbuster Video. I hope that I can find a picture for you of a Blockbuster video store. They don't exist anymore, but they used to look, let's see, they used to look like this. So in the 80s and 90s, there was something called a VHS tape. Nowadays, you watch movies on Viaplay, on HBO Nordic, Netflix. Netflix is super popular. But back in the day, that's not how people watched movies. You would get a Blockbuster card, and with that card, you would become a member. You would become a member of Blockbuster, and you would rent a video, take the video home, watch it, and then return it. And the color, as you can see, is blue. The letters are in yellow, yes, but the theme color for the Blockbuster were blue. The theme colors were blue and yellow. And that's very... People who are my age and older, who lived in the United States or anywhere else where Blockbuster was a thing, will tell you that that was quite a cozy thing to do on weekends. You'd go rent a couple of videos, and later on it went on to become DVDs, and later on nothing. Up until when I first moved to Norway, they still had that at Mix. You could rent DVDs at Mix. But now those things don't exist anymore. Anyway, so this object is inside the wallet with a Blockbuster card, a Jamba Juice card, Jamba, and a learner's permit. What is a learner's permit? Does anybody know? Can anybody tell me? I'm just going to give you some time to answer if nobody says anything. Or even if someone says something, I'll just give you the answer in a bit. A learner's permit. In the United States, in most states, you're actually allowed to get a license, a driver's license, when you're 16 years of age. When you are taking driver's ed, which stands for driver's education, after you've had a certain amount of classes, you get something called a learner's permit. That learner's permit is a temporary license for you to drive, but you're only allowed to drive with a learner's permit if you're sitting with somebody who has a license who is over a certain age. So now we see that the story of this person's life, the person who owns the wallet, who owns this object, mysterious object. Maybe some of you have already figured out what it is, this object in a wallet. But we also get an insight on the life of the person who actually owns the wallet. So we know it's somebody very young who has a learner's permit that later becomes replaced by an actual driver's license. Yes, let's move on. I'm going to disappear for a bit.
Soon after, I am taken out of wallet. It is night. I am scared. I do not know what is happening. Then I see girl human. She is one from photograph. She looks same in real life, except now she wears no shirt. She is smiling, but when she sees me, she becomes angry. There is arguing. I go back inside wallet. A few days later, picture of girl human is gone. That summer, I meet two new friends. The first is student ID New York University Jordy Hirschfeld. The second is MetroCard. MetroCard is from New York City, and he never lets you forget it. He has real attitude. He is yellow and black, with Cirque du Soleil advertisement on back. When MetroCard meets GameStop power-up card Jordy Hirschfeld, he looks at me and says, "No wonder Jordy Hirschfeld not yet use you." I become confused. Use me for what? That night, MetroCard tells me many strange things about myself. At first, I do not believe what he says, but he insists all is true. When I start to panic, he laughs. He says, "What did you think you were for?" I am too embarrassed to admit truth, which is that I thought I was Balloon. It is around this time that we move. For more than 2 years, we had lived inside Velcro Batman. It is nice, comfy. One day, though, without warning, we are inside stiff brown leather. I am very upset, especially when I see that so many friends are gone. No more GameStop power-up card Jordy Hirschfeld. No more Blockbuster Video Jordy Hirschfeld. No more Scarsdale comic book explosion discount card. Only survivors are MetroCard, driver license, student ID, myself, and a creepy new lady named Visa. I am angry. What was wrong with Velcro Batman? It had many pockets and was warm. I miss my friends, and I am lonely. A few days later, I meet Film Forum membership Jordan Hirschfeld. At this point, I am in panic mode. What is Film Forum? Who is Jordan Hirschfeld? Jordan Hirschfeld is same guy as Jordy Hirschfeld, MetroCard explains. He is just trying to change his image.
Well, what's happening now? If you have figured this out, I want you to tell me some information that you may have gotten from this part of the story. First, the person who owns the wallet used to go to high school. We know that he used to go to high school because he only had a learner's permit. He didn't have a driver's license. He was still going to driver's ed. Now, where does he go to school, if any type of school, and what type of school is it? Can anybody type it in the chat box? Yes, he now goes to New York University. The next thing found in the wallet is a MetroCard. What is a MetroCard? Does anybody know? If you are familiar with what a metro is a subway or a type of train. So the same as you have a bus card, to go on a bus. In places with the subway and the train, you can actually purchase a metro card, and you can use the metro, the subway, and go anywhere. So now we see this person growing up, and we're hearing the story from the mysterious object who is telling the story. Those of you who have already figured out what the object is, feel free to just type it in the chat box. I myself am not going to say it. No spoilers. But if you figured it out, go ahead and write it in the chat box. Now for the last page of the story and the last part of what we're going to do before we go into one round of Quizlet Live, and after that we're going to have a video conference.
I am confused. What is wrong with old image? That night, I poke my head out of wallet and look around pocket. It is dark, but I can see we have new neighbor. He says his name is Cigarettes Gauloise. He is very polite, but I get weird vibe from him. It is about this time that I meet strip of notebook paper. On him is written Rachel Feingold at nyu.edu. Now we're getting somewhere, MetroCard says. I have never been more frightened in my life. That Saturday, 5 crisp 20s show up. I assume they will stay long time, like most 20s. But 2 hours later, they are gone, replaced by Receipt La Cucina. MetroCard looks at Receipt La Cucina and laughs. She better put out after that, he says. I am confused and worried. Later on, I am minding my own business when Jordan, shoves his finger into me. I am terrified. What was that? I ask. MetroCard grins. He is checking to make sure you're there, he says. For later. My friends try to calm me down. One of the dollars, a 1, tells me about the time he met vending machine Pepsi. He was stuffed in and out, so many times he almost died. I know he is trying to make me feel better, but I am like, please stop talking about that. Eventually, the moment comes. It is like other time. I am taken out of wallet and tossed on bed. It is very dark. I can make out shape of girl. She picks me up and squints at me for a while. Then, she turns on lamp. I am confused. So is Jordan Hirschfeld. What's wrong? He asks. His face is like Jamba Juice value card. Red, red, red. I think, she says, that this might actually be expired. There is long silence. And then, all of a sudden, the humans are laughing. And then, the girl is hitting Jordan with pillow. And he is hitting her back with pillow. And they are laughing, laughing, laughing. The girl reaches into her bag. Don't worry, she says. I've got one. Part of me kind of wants to watch what happens next, but I am quickly covered in pile of clothes. When I wake up next day, Jordan is dangling me over trash can. I look down into pit. Inside are Cigarettes Gauloise and Film Forum schedule. They are talking philosophy. I sigh. I do not really want to move in with them, but what can I do? I figure this is end of the line for me. Suddenly, though, Jordan carries me away, to other side of room. I am placed inside shoebox under his bed. At first, I am afraid, because it is dark, but as vision adjusts, I see I am not alone. There is strip of notebook paper, Rachel Feingold at nyu.edu. There is receipt La Cucina, on which is now written, First Date. I spend long time in shoebox. When I arrive, I am new guy. But as time passes, I become veteran. I welcome many new friends. Birthday card, Rachel. Happy Valentine's Day, Rachel. And many post-it notes, Rachel. I love you, Jordy, Rachel. Good morning, Jordy, Rachel. Everything in here is Rachel. I do not know how things are in Wallet these days, but I am glad to be in shoebox. I feel as if I have made it. I am happy. I am warm. I am safe.
Well, so now we're going to do one round of Quizlet Live, and after that, we're going to all meet in a video conference on Skype. I'm going to send the link to our group chat, but I'm also going to put the link in the chat here as well. Just one round of Quizlet Live today. Just one round. And the reason for that is that we're going to spend some time in the conference call, so I feel like it's necessary for us to have some speaking and listening activities where you can also speak. It was actually Kaya last year who suggested this more often, that we should have those more often during the pandemic last year. Kaya is a very nice girl, excellent student. And I was just saying, like, she looks like the girl from Cycle 6 in America's Next Top Model, but Kaya is actually prettier than that girl. Anyway, if everybody's ready for their Quizlet, what we're going to do today with the Quizlet is going to be a study set you've never seen before. The reason why I'm doing this is just for you to test yourselves in your general knowledge of English. So I'm going to use a very simple study set, but it's something that you've never seen before. This is vocabulary from 9th grade. So I think you're going to be okay. You should be getting a code for me. You should be getting a code from me at any time, at any point now. I'm going to start as soon as we have enough people. As soon as we have like 12 people, just because we're pushing for time. link to our video conference